Hello, this is Yogeshwar 7000 again, and I'm back with another interesting topic in Vedic astrology today. And today we'll be talking about Pranapada Lagna. Okay, this is not the usual Lagna or the ascendant which you see in the Rashi chart or the main birth chart. This is a special Lagna as given in the ancient scriptures. And once again, I'll remind you that all my videos are a direct reference to the ancient scriptures. So we'll be talking about this particular special Lagna as given to us by the ancient sages. And Prana is a Sanskrit word. Prana means life force. Okay, so this Lagna is related to the position of sun at the time of your birth, and this Lagna will describe the life force. And just by looking at a birth chart, you can, based on the Pranapada Lagna where it falls, you can very easily determine in a nutshell how the birth will be, whether it's going to be auspicious or inauspicious, or a troublesome life ahead, or a very happy life ahead. But just don't base your conclusion just on this Pranapada Lagna, okay? Because there may be certain favorable combinations, there may be certain unfavorable combinations. It could be a mix, but this is just one tool to determine whether the birth is going to be auspicious or not, whether you'll have a lucky life or an unlucky life, or a troublesome life or a happy life, okay? But don't base your conclusion just on this. This is just one of the tools which have been mentioned in the ancient scriptures. And like I said, this Lagna, this special Lagna or a special ascendant is related to the position of the planet Sun in the birth chart at the time of your birth, because Sun is the planet which gives us the life force, you know. So Prana, once again, you know, the Sanskrit word is meaning life force, okay? So that's how it's named, Pranapada, or the special Lagna of Pranapada. Okay, how do you determine, how do you find out what the Pranapada Lagna is going to be? Okay, well, whatever time you're born, you can convert the given time into Vighatis, and Vighati was a unit of time which was used in the ancient times, and divide this number. Once you have the Vighati, you divide the Vighati number by 15, and the resulting degrees should be added to the planet Sun in case Sun occupies a movable zodiac sign, okay? And this will give a Pranapada Lagna. And in case, and this is the case, like I said, you know, this is the case only if the planet Sun is situated in a movable sign, not all the other signs. Now, in case the planet Sun occupies a fixed zodiac sign, and people who are not familiar with what a movable, fixed, and dual sign is, please refer to my earlier videos. So I gave you how you calculate the Pranapada Lagna in case Sun is in the movable sign. In case Sun occupies a fixed zodiac sign, then just add 240 degrees to it, and then you'll get the Pranapada Lagna, where that Lagna, that special ascendant, is situated, okay? And in case the planet Sun occupies a dual sign or a dual zodiac sign, just add 120 degrees to it, and wherever that falls, that point falls, you will get the Pranapada Lagna. So there are different rules in case Sun is situated in movable, fixed, or dual signs at the time of your birth. But you know, rather than getting into this tedious, well, it's not tedious, but whatever, you know, you may have to do this manual calculation. There are softwares, astrological softwares, where you can just get the Pranapada Lagna at the click of a button, okay? And some softwares have it written as PP, or some have described as you know, the whole name Pranapada Lagna. So you'll have to look for it. and then you can figure out where your Pranapada Lagna falls. Now comes the interesting part. Okay, the interesting part is that in case the Pranapada Lagna, and like I said, it's interesting because just by looking, just having a little glance at somebody's birth chart and seeing where the Pranapada Lagna falls, you can determine as to that person's going to be having a happy life, a tough life, a difficult life. You'll be able to figure out based on what has been described in the ancient scriptures. But once again, I'll say, don't come to a final conclusion just based on the analysis of the Pranapada Lagna, because you have to see the chart in totality, the other combinations, the other ways of analyzing a chart. Okay, so as far as Pranapada Lagna goes, in case Pranapada Lagna falls in the ascendant or the first house, then it has been described that the person will be very weak. He could be sickly, meaning which he could have all kinds of diseases in his life. If it's too extreme a case, meaning which if other combinations are also against him, he could end up being a lunatic as well, or sometimes defective limbed, very bad life he could have. But then look at the other combinations present in the birth chart. So that's when the Pranapada Lagna falls in the first house or the ascendant. In case the Pranapada falls in the second house, it's a very auspicious indication that a person will be having a lot of wheats and rices, and abundant grains, abundant wealth, and abundant children and family, and will be extremely fortunate. Okay, that's when the Pranapada Lagna falls in the second house of the main chart. So you'll see, the main Rashi chart where the Lagna is situated and the second house is situated. I already told you what happens when Pranapada Lagna also falls in the main Lagna of the birth chart, which is the ascendant or the first house. Then it's not good. And then if it's in the second house, he'll be having a lot of wealth and family and happiness and fortune and everything. Okay, in case the Pranapada Lagna falls in the third house, the person can, and that's been described in the ancient scriptures, can be a little mischievous. Okay, can be a little egoistic. Okay, can be a little hard-hearted, and may not have respect for elders, and may not have a habit to remain clean, or he will not give priority to cleanliness. Okay, that's when the Pranapada Lagna falls in the third house of the main Rashi chart. Okay, in case the Pranapada Lagna falls in the fourth house, once again this is a good auspicious sign, and he'll be happy, he'll be friendly, he'll be fond of women, and he'll respect elders, and he'll be kind of a soft-natured person. Okay, in case the Pranapada Lagna falls in the fifth house, he will be happy, and also that's also a good auspicious place to have a Pranapada Lagna in. He'll be kind, he'll be affectionate, so good things you'll see about his personality. Now the problem is when it falls in the sixth house. So the sixth house is about enemies, and he'll be troubled by enemies. In case the Pranapada falls in the sixth house, he is going to be troubled by his enemies. Although he'll be sharp, but he'll be troubled by his enemies. Also, he may be subdued by his relatives, close relatives. He'll have problems in digestion, and sometimes he can be a little wicked. And but then it says that he could be affluent as well. But the life of that person may not be very long. Okay, so that is in case the Pranapada Lagna falls in the sixth house. Not a very good place to be in, but that's what the ancient scriptures say. But then once again, don't jump to a conclusion. Look at other factors in a birth chart, look at other combinations, and do the complete analysis of a birth chart. I keep repeating that because some people may just forget it. In case the Pranapada Lagna falls in the seventh house, it's been described in the ancient scriptures that he may be green-eyed and be fierce in appearance, and he may not be worth getting respect. So he'll have problems getting respect in his life from others. In case the Pranapada Lagna falls in the eighth house of the main birth chart, Then there is a problem that he may be afflicted by, or troubled by diseases, and sometimes chronic diseases as well. And he could get into problems on account of the king. Well, there are no kings in today's day and age, but with the authorities of the government in today's day and age, you can relate it to that. And he could get problems with his relatives. He could get problems in his servants. With his servants, they may kind of cheat him or whatever. Even with his sons, he may get problems with. Okay, so look out for that combination of birth chart in case the Pranapada Lagna falls in the 8th house. Not a very good indication. Okay, so watch out for this. In case the Pranapada falls in the 9th house, that's a very, very good place to have a Pranapada Lagna in. He will be endowed with sons, will be very rich and affluent. He'll be very fortunate and lucky. He'll be very charming. He will not be wicked. He'll be skillful. He'll be religious. He'll be very, very happy, fortunate. Okay, so that's a very good place for the Pranapada Lagna to fall in. In case the Pranapada Lagna falls in the 10th house, then the person is going to be very intelligent. That's a good place as well. He could be skillful and heroic as well in his deeds. He'll be an expert in carrying out royal orders. So here, royal orders, you could translate it to in modern days, he will be maybe a government official or, a diplomat or whatever. So, and then, another thing which is distinctive here is that he's going to be very religious and will worship gods. Okay. In case the Pranapada Lagna falls in the 11th house, once again, a good place for the Pranapada Lagna to fall in. He'll be famous, he'll be virtuous, he'll be learned, he'll be wealthy, and it's been described in the ancient scriptures that, he may be very close to his mother as well. Okay. In case the Pranapada Lagna falls in the 12th house, not a good place, very bad place. He could be a mean person, a wicked person. He could have problems with his limb. He could have defective limbs. He's going to hate Brahmins and his own relatives, and he may suffer from eye diseases. And in extreme cases, he could be just one-eyed. Okay, that's when the Pranapada Lagna falls in the 12th house. Really, really bad place. Really bad place to be in. The 12th house, the main Rashi chart. If the Pranapada Lagna is falling. Okay, but then once again, I keep repeating, don't jump to a conclusion based on just this tool. So hopefully you did enjoy this this video on Pranapada Lagna. Test out on several charts and see what you come out with. Test out in your own chart and see whether it makes sense or not. And it will make sense because it's coming directly from the ancient scriptures, by the way. So in the meanwhile, I would recommend subscribe to my channel, check out my website. There is a link below, and I'll see you with an interesting topic in Vedic astrology in my next session very soon. Goodbye.